Everything wants to steal your joy out there. Problem with other humans is we value them, and we end up valuing their opinion of us, which sucks because then we are limiting ourselves to other people's negativity, confusion, or hypocrisy. And for me, hypocrisy is hard to acknowledge, especially when people sleep around and then call me gross. Like somebody's fucking a dozen people a couple of years and is like, oh, you're gross, when he said somebody. Like, the audacity and insanity. That's why I'm not Christine's friend. She's been popping in my mind a lot recently. So I went like a couple days without thinking about her. That was a miracle. So that's good. Now I'm wondering if I should renew my friendship with her at all. All I can think is, man, she calls me gross and I suffered tremendously under her. And she hasn't apologized. Does she know she should apologize? Well, I don't think she's that dumb. But she is egotistical and hypocritical. Here I am months later, thinking about her. I mean, she's literally with somebody, making love to him. For whatever reason, I think about her. That sucks. It really sucks. Do I want her in my life? I guess kind of, a little bit. But not at all like she was. I kind of hate her. You know, someone that was abusive, mean, aggressive, judgmental, even though I explained what I desired, not accepting, and then she did those things. So why do I feel need to be kind to her? I don't know. I feel an obligation to be kind to people. It sucks. Do I want her in my life? I don't know. Not really. I need a new one of these cards. This thing just rings, like nothing is touching it, it'll start ringing. So you can put it on something that you can find it. Though it's really needs to be better. Like this one just rings. Just randomly. Like its sensitivity is off. Anyways, not really what I want to talk about. I spent time fixing an Amazon account because both Amazon and Google decided to load your photos onto the storage space of your email. So now you can't access your email. First thing I would do as a judge would mandate that they have those storages separately. Because able to access email just to verify yourself is pertinent to the existence of life, and there's no reason to unite those two other than they're trying to force people to pay money to them. And it wastes time. It's time, tremendous amount of time wasting, energy. Earth, we have limited time, energy, focus, and we are spending way too much time needing to verify ourselves. Encrypt, encrypt, encrypt. Once we create the ultimate encryption per personal identity that cannot be stolen because it's connected to your blood, then you'll never have a login problem again. No one will be able to steal from you. You'll be able to walk in the ghettos of the ghettos and you won't be robbed, which will then create an honest society. Tremendous amount of time lost wouldn't exist. You can log into a device instantaneously, no problem, and no one will steal your identity. No one will rob you. It'll be impossible. Why? Because if they attempted to rob you, it would appear that they robbed you directly, and they could hold them accountable. It would create instant accountability and accountability to businesses. So businesses will have to present themselves honestly, upfront, direct. But Chris, you stole little things to survive. Yeah, I did. And everyone who accepts food stamps accepts stolen goods. If you accept government aid, if you are paid in the military to sit on your ass, your whole budget is paid to you by stolen finances or printed inflation, which is also stolen finance. Don't come at me. More than a third of Americans, probably more than half of them, accept stolen goods. But if someone else steals it for you, are you still in camaraderie with the thief? Absolutely. If the government steals the money of a laborer who wanted to buy a drink Now he can't afford his fancy drink. And I take that money and I buy that fancy drink. Who did I steal it from? I stole it from the guy who cannot purchase it. Now, the grocery store gets paid either way, to some extent. But their grocery store is also accepting stolen finances. So they have a slight camaraderie with it. Though, I don't think it's the grocery store's fault. So, yeah. The problem is, people don't look at reality. They deny what is real. And if you can remove yourself from it, example, sexuality again. If you've had sex with a dozen people in 4 or 5 years, you're not monogamous. You're just closing the door and denying that you're attracted to other people. In order to have sex with multiple people, you have to be attracted to them. All we're doing is hiding behind doors for attraction and then giving in or being suppressed by demonic energy of jealousy and possession or insecurity or the thought of less value because we are not living as a nude family. We want the kids, bye-bye. Nobody has even attempted to be publicly naked and be allowed to have sex outside. No one even knows what sex is outside. No one's seen it. So, in order to judge something, you have to observe it. What are you saying? Recreate a healthy ozone. Healthy air is the center of health itself. I breathe way too often and get not the right nutrients in my breath. There's no reason for me laying down, breathing that much, doing that. It's just insane. So I have an ozonator. If you Google it, obviously it's dangerous. It can hurt you. From my experience dealing with very painful lungs, the ozonator on low settings helped me defeat certain diseases and brought my breathing rate down. Let me plug this one in. But the big boy. I did have to do the Amazon return because the unit, though it has a 5-year, I barely used a unit for 2-3 days. It's supposed to last years. Yeah, I did the buy return thing, or I'm doing it. I mean, it's only bad if the retailer's a different retailer. The thing with Amazon returns is they all go into this weird return section. It's not like it goes back to the person. Rarely ever, so. You believe in thievery. I believe in freedom of knowledge and the ability to utilize any and all knowledge. You don't believe in copywriting? No. You cannot copyright intelligence. You can copyright brand, which is imperative, absolutely necessary to ensure quality of goods and accountability, so there's no shitty made things. We also have to accept that life is not perfect and death is part of life, and we cannot make people criminals just for being poor, for failing, for dying, for having people that die under them. Death itself and risk and harm, it is part of Earth. So before jumping to extremes, it's better to ask. Create a situation, ask what I think about it. So here I am, doing no carbs, no sugar, still possessed demonically. I did have a very small loaf of bread. Sourdough was good. Grandma had a bone to pick with me. I ate all her chicken. I'll get some more chicken. You're not a vegan. I've suffered with a fungal overgrowth in my body and simple glucose, sugar from fruit, though much healthier than, absolutely healthier in your body than fake sugars. By fake, I mean like high fructose, like chemical sugars. Erythritol, I feel, is good from what I understand. Maybe not. But it's better than a lot of other sugar substitutes. Monk fruit. I'm going down there. What I'm going is I have to starve this fungus out of my body. And while I was vegan, I was exhausted every day because I have a fungal infection. So I haven't tried being vegan without a fungal infection. Though, death is part of life, and this world is not heaven, and so part of this life is eating. The greatest, like if I got put in the ground, eventually worms and bugs would eat me. That's cool. I'm cool with that. If somebody threw me out to sharks, I'd be happy to die that way. I just thought if I had to go, just drug me up, make a video documentary. And I drop me from a plane, I splat blood, and then I get eaten alive. That's how I want to go. I think it'd be cool as shit. Considering the police, the whole institution of police is structured on obedience to laws that were written by criminals that are absolutely unconstitutional. If we are going to truly live by the correct law structure, the Supreme Court and the Constitution, more importantly, the Constitution over the Supreme Court, is the structure of human rights and the treaties that have been signed. Treaties are also the supreme law. We have treaties and the Constitution. That's the base. Anything that is not built upon that base cannot be upheld. The problem is that we have people in government making laws using the force of violence to impose unconstitutional, irrational issues. Solve homelessness in one sentence. Build people homes on open land. Allow people to build homes on open land without taxation. Damn, nigga, you just solved a problem. Duh. Sometimes I wonder, and if people don't understand things this simple, like the Twin Towers not collapsing because a plane hit it, which is an offense to every engineer in the world. It's an offense to the very construction of it. That's what gets to me, is it was constructed to withstand pressure and force 1,000 times more than what that plane caused, meaning it couldn't cause that. This hitting me in the arm cannot break my bone. It's not possible. The whole thing, 9/11, is impossibility. It is a miracle. The explanation of it is miraculous. Well, the plane hit and the thing went shipped and the whole thing collapsed like Concordian. Steel does not collapse upon itself. It doesn't. The only way is if it's very thin. This thing is holding up the whole... How the fuck? And both of them did instantaneously. Within minutes. No one sees that? What about the moon landing? Well, I mean, people like fairy tales. They like religion. The problem is that people group themselves rather than being independent thinkers. I'm not left, I'm not right, I'm correct. I'm center. I'm a little crooked right now, but I'm going to be center. Yeah, paranoia sucks. Ooh. I'm really trying to lessen my kratom, also because of my stomach. It is true that I just don't want to feel anymore. I don't want to exist here. Like, very existence is uncomfortability. The greatest things we could do in humanity is change air, change food, allow nudity and open sexuality. That will solve so many problems. Eradicate disease, create an honest currency system, eradicate taxation, and create government of people, by people, for people, because the people are the government. When people say, submit to the government, I say, they are a terrorist organization who has taken over the government, which is me. And upon his shoulders will rest bird poop and cow dung and no fertilized earth. He has demons. Yes. Everyone has demons. I'm just separated from them to the extent that in order for them to manifest, they have to be forced their way in, which shows up on my face, I suppose, something like that. Pregabalin. This for my fungal infection. How do you say? How do you know? How do I know? Every morning I wake up and I feel thrush, discomfort, exhaustion. I have every tick on the signs of a fungal infection. Every one of those. My life drastically changed. internally. Someone has tetanus. You're not, from what I understand, you're not going to see it on the outside. It's on the inside. Pregabalin has helped me. This, when I'm ill, King will have better stuff. Anybody will be able to access this. Even a baby? Jesus fucking hell. We don't give babies poison. Without reason, you're going to die. You have to apply reason. You have to consider truth. You are responsible for your rights and your knowledge and your wisdom. We have access to information and the application of information. People want to enter into a different age. Well, all the problems are because we have a debt currency that everyone's enslaved to. It literally comes into existence when it is loaned to you as debt. And then you're charged interest, but the money doesn't exist to pay the interest, meaning you can never even get close to coming out. The banks will always steal your labor through counterfeiting of currency to a debt loan that cannot be paid. And once they acquire that, there's more inflation, they sell it again, creating more money, creating more debt that enslaves the world. How is it that something so simple evades all the economists? Huh? Your currency is issued by the banks as their money, as though they worked for it, which they didn't. Banks digitally print your currency into their accounts as they lend to you. That money didn't exist. The money gets its value from stealing through inflation. Inflation is the theft of value of the currency around you. It is a taking. When the government added $12 trillion, they stole half of everyone's wealth. Can you believe that? And no, people don't even say shit. It's because people don't recognize currency for what it is, or what it should be. Honest trade of value. If someone comes along and steals your labor through inflation, they enslaved you to them. If you're working for someone else without reward, you a bitch slave. All right. Clock. 1 o'clock. Time to limit. I wonder what the ingredients are on this. Is this the same? I just had a Celsius packet. Whip it out. Hands aren't too shaky. $200 milligrams caffeine per serving. I think that's less than the actual one. That's all right. They probably have different limitations. Caffeine's dangerous. The heart is important to protect. Why is nudity and affection a crime? Think about it. Two people are attracted to each other and they snuggle. And because they snuggle, they're committing a crime. Though it's legal for banks, governments to steal from you, it's legal for media to show excessive violence, brutality, harm. It's legal to murder people if you work for the government, as the highest paid amount of money in government is to murder people, You don't believe in the military? I am the military. You are the military. In order to have military of people, it has to be run by the people. The problem with democracy is you're voting for a king, a leader, and it takes away your power. And to be a sovereign group of people, you have to have power. You are the government. You have authority. People their whole lives complain about the structure. It's because they don't have any power to change things. Everyone knows it needs to be changed. The easiest way to do it is allow people to change it. So you have to have courts of people based upon wisdom, knowledge, and purity of heart. So people that you admire in authority are the better judges than those who are demonically oppressed and full of hate. And what do we do with people that commit grave crimes? Well, you have to first define a crime as actually a crime. Existing is not a crime. Nudity is not a crime. Affection, desired affection, is not a crime. The TSA touching me is a crime. TSA groping people's private parts with the back of their hand, which is their hand. Like in a court, if I said, oh, I just rubbed my back of my hand upon her breasts, her vagina, and her ass, so it doesn't count. No, it does count. You have nerve endings in your hand. Like, it's so immoral. And what are they looking for? A gram of coke? Who cares? You don't have the right to search people if they haven't committed a crime or you don't suspect them of a crime. The whole airport thing is they only should be searching for, weapons they don't want on there. That's it. Or something really smelly. Somebody brings dirty diapers. You probably don't want that. Other than that, TSA is a piece of shit. 9/11 was whack, and it was an excuse to steal all your liberties. And people are coming to realize that because emergencies create signatures and government rules over you through stupidity. We don't even use our own waterways to deliver goods up and down the coast. And the water doesn't cost anything to sail upon. You don't have to build the roads on the water because of laws that mandate to use American-made ships, and American labor is way too expensive because Americans are paid way too much because they need that much to pay their debts because banks counterfeit money. Can you believe it? The most powerful currency in the world has been allocated to banks to privately counterfeit, and no one talks about that. And they counterfeit it as debt. So they give you $100,000 to buy something, buy a home, get it started, $1 million, and then through years they apply interest and say you have to pay us back $200,000, another $1 million 30 years later. Well, where does that $1 million come from? Because you're not allowed to print money, meaning your debt cannot be paid. Look, this solves all the problems. So what is the solution? Well, there's a few. The hard part about using real silver, gold, is that you still have to carry it. Now, the solution is to have a digital currency that is limited, connected to real wealth, and is not created as debt loans, but is created as gift into existence. You gift the currency, the digital currency, into existence, and then you gift it to people who are honest, good, and do well with it. So then you're giving them portions of power to have impact, and everyone has access to it, and it cannot be stolen because it's connected to you. 666, the number of the beast. Hell and fire was born to be released. If there is any sort of EMP collapse upon society, you're all fucked. And everyone will be like, holy shit, why don't I have a gun? Why don't I have guns? But even more important is why don't we have a unified front of knowledge, intellect, and an escape plan in case there is an emergency? There is no escape plan planned. Everyone is too busy being in debt, trying not to lose what they have, and going to useless schools. By the time a child graduates from high school, taxpayers will have paid maybe over $200,000, which is the equivalent, to many people's whole life of labor. And so you could enslave a man in India his whole life. You take all of that labor, all that work, and then you pay for one child's schooling. And after that kid graduates schooling, which required the suffering of one man's whole life, that child hasn't even been taught to boil water. And I literally say this: they have learned nothing. Nothing. How is that even possible? I don't even know how is that even possible to learn nothing? Oh, well, they learned that. They learned that. Nothing. Considering what it costs someone for it. Why? Well, because all of life is fixed upon obedience to command. Everything, not reason. Not logic, not liberty, not the right to exist. People want to govern their evil ideals through violence of the state. The only purpose of the violence of the state is to protect, not to enforce crime of the government itself. At that point, it has become an institution that enslaves humanity for its own benefit. Solution: 1. Stop paying government. 2. Establish courts that are based upon truth. 3. Deny the state its authority through declarations of human rights, and then you declare they don't have authority because they are a gang. So you deny them authority, and then you have to establish what is authority. So then you create your courts. And then you handle the people in prison. Majority of them need to come out. And those that are too evil, you decapitate. You know, the other option is torture them in prison forever at the cost of millions of dollars, which again is like one person's life spent in jail is going to cost 20 Americans their whole life's tax money. 20 Americans, their whole life tax money to keep one person in prison his whole life. Think about that. We are so disconnected. I loathe the financial structure of the military and the leadership structure that demands obedience to stupidity. It is the most arrogant, destructive, and horrendous military decision to have it based upon obedience. All problems stem from obedience to evil through denial of your rights. 2, taxes, which is also theft, slavery, which leads into money, not having an honest, fair, non-debt currency that is based upon righteousness, labor, work, laws, and 4, Cinco de Mayo, spirit realm, to deliver people from darkness. And courts, establish court, justice, which I said already. Then we branch into disease, sickness, purifying the earth, purifying food, purifying the air. And lastly, 7, allowing people to be naked and have affection in public. You won't have creeps, and everything will be healed. We do those few things. Most people's main problem with me is going to be they fear me because of creating an actual digital currency of truth that can't be stolen. Like, so much time is spent, time lost, and people are being robbed all the time because of our current structure. It's completely, banks rob you, governments rob you, other people rob you, contracts rob you, not getting out subscriptions rob you, not being able to log into things rob you of your time. By creating your personal ID, and you can buy anything with it, as long as you're not harming people against their will. Some people like a little bit of pain. Pain's interesting. At some points, something can become pleasure. Even, think about this. Tickling, which produces laughter, is painful. That's how weird the world is. So all judgments have to be understood in the reality that is there. It brings to, 8, open land and aiding people in establishing free electricity. Nothing's really free, but you create machinery that produces itself and produces its energy, then you have free. And then machinery works for us. Open source coding. The evolution of the future is directly connected to the open application of technology, non-copyrighted technology. Again, once everyone's free of debt, so many things change. Right now, people have to make so much money because if they don't, they lose everything. You know what? It really doesn't take a lot of money to live. The problem is 80 to 90% of all money is stolen as debt, loans, taxation, government, and inflation. People are living on 15%. Of course, it's not enough money. People are getting paid $20 an hour. It's more like they're being paid $3 an hour. So, I mean, shit, everything's crazy. What would happen if we got rid of debt? Well, the first thing you would see is a massive movement of health, prosperity, time, fun events, and serving people that need help and changing their lives. And recycling. We have too much. It's easy to buy something. It's hard to get rid of it. Eventually it all stirs up. So really get those garbage trucks moving, picking things up, recycling it. What about all those tires? Something's so weird to me. It's like there just has to be simple solutions to some of this stuff. Not just recycling. Like, we have massive sand dunes. Is it really not possible to just bury it? Whatever we produce, part of our budget has to be in recycling it. First thing I would do is I would apply taxation to plastics. I would apply taxation to institutions like Coca-Cola, Kellogg's, Hershey's, places that are making huge medical costs, and I would start taxing their food for its actual cost. And hence, rapidly changing the whole market. Because that's its actual cost, is the disease and harm it causes. The only time to use taxation is when an organization is not being responsible for what it's doing. In respect to the reality that is Earth, which is decay and death. And the first thing to do is to acknowledge reality. The problem with religion is the whole structure of religion is based on obedience by command. And everyone reciprocates what they're told. It's the metaphor of the analogy of the group of monkeys that harm each other. And they don't know why they're harming each other, but they got into a position where they all harm each other. From anyone trying to reach up and climb out and grab a banana. What's that story about? You have a group of monkeys. And up on a ladder or something, there's a banana. Anytime one tries to go up there, they soak it with water, electrocute it, they harm it. So soon they realize if they try to reach for the banana, they're going to be harmed. So they all begin to inhibit each other from doing it. And then they remove a monkey, put a new one in there. The new monkey wants a banana. Everyone around them smacks him. Eventually, they're all replaced, and no one knows why they're smacking the other monkey other than they're doing it from fear of being harmed. And that's our religions. We're all replicating fear. I mean, the problem with me is that your God hasn't spoken in thousands of years, and you're following that, and you're going to be judged by that. You're going to be judged by an institution of a small group of people in the history of the world that said they heard God, and maybe they did, but that being isn't speaking more, and he's going to judge you by that. That's its position of judgment. See, the ability to even reason or think is non-existent in religion, because to deny the book, and more importantly, to deny the teachers that say what the book says, even though the book was written in different languages, don't even speak, is to deny God itself. Because then they elect themselves as God by saying they have the word of God. Anything that comes against it is not true. And the Bible will say, honor God, honor it. But people don't even follow the Bible. Don't even come close to following the Bible. So then you have to balance that. Like a lot of the Jews tried, and we don't even try doing it. So now what are we bound to? Well, now we're bound to Paul. Fuck that. Jesus said he would send you the Spirit. Follow the Spirit. Paul said he'd follow the Spirit. Paul was a man. He was human. He was not Jesus. That's all right. Last thing. All will be saved. Said how many times? I don't know, 23, 24 times in the Bible that all will be saved. And yet, why would there be an eternal judgment? Jesus said the man will be put into prison until he paid his due. Until ending. Judgment has purpose. And his purpose isn't to just torture. At that point, you become evil. If your child is being bad and you discipline the child, you become a good parent. But if you torture the child endlessly, you become evil. And you become worse than the crime committed by that child. It's not that complicated. Reason is not allowed in your religion because your religion is based upon a deity that is violent. And you boast that you follow the truth because you are allegiant to a deceptive, destructive, purposely torturing deity who is making humans in his image to torture them forever. And you stand together and circle jerk saying how great you are because you believe in that is the word of God. But it's not, is it? It's not. The whole Bible is in conflict to that. So something's wrong. Your book is translated. The Bible is not written in English. Your pastors don't know the Word of God because they don't speak it. And it's mostly egotistical people out in the hills, boondocks. Again, all religion is based upon circle jerking each other. Everyone just agreeing, shaking hands, shaking dicks. Everyone shaking each other's dicks, each other's coochies. That's what all your religions are based on. Repetition and punishment, harm, abuse to anyone who says otherwise, while they themselves glorify themselves as the followers of God. And all of them, every one of the monkeys, have never heard God. We're all just mandated to accept what was said. And for whatever reason, a God of true judgment is then going to judge you based upon man's, other people's statements. And a lot of Christianity is crazy as saying people go to hell if they don't accept Jesus. Even though all of that is in conflict with one major verse. I said, I choose you. You didn't choose me. Problem comes with the eternal judgment. Really, all of that, the word eternal is apo, age, time, season, and judgment is purpose. And hell is a horrendous translation of multiple different words, each with different meanings. So you've been lied to. More importantly, wouldn't you be excited to realize that your ministers are a lazy piece of shit, and they're afraid to speak truth, and they're offended by affection because they follow a deity thousands of years old that hasn't spoke since then, that spoke to people in a land far away, which you're not allowed to question. That's your religion. Obedience by violence, and everyone repeats it. How could a being of truth even do that? The earth was planned. If everyone's going to be saved, it's going to be saved. It doesn't mean there's not correction or punishment. There. A third of atheists will then begin to instantly accept possibility in God because the current structure is abhorrent to compassion and to heart. When someone goes through awful experiences, what do they say? I don't wish this upon my enemy. Well, if you, a man, have that much compassion to not want others to suffer what you suffered, why would a being that is love want people to perpetually suffer? What is earth? Earth is hell, and the purpose of earth is the experience the opposite of heaven, which is pure bliss. That's why this place is so bad. We're in a video game of suffering where people are allegiant to demons. Demons are spirits. Spirits I want to kill, destroy. Let's go for it again. See, there's small vocabulary. Let's push into it. No one's going to believe. Fuck you. Trash can? Tried it like 1,000 times. Hopefully that works. Bing, 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 bing. Alright. The more liberated we become, the greater it is just to be loving and kind. Rule number 11. You have the right to defend yourself using all violence necessary against anyone who seeks to physically harm you or enslave you, no matter their title. You have the right to hold any person accountable and to judge them accordingly with the purpose of redeeming the evil man, or correcting them, or beheading them with a hatchet. We cannot be good in our judgments, for our judgments are more evil than the action committed. It makes us worse. Police follow orders, and that is our problem. The stupidest people in the world are those, the most immoral, gutless people are those who work in the government and follow their orders. Most of them are just there for money, but the worst humans in the world are those who follow orders to harm their fellow man. And we have to establish justice, which allows us to hold evil accountable, therefore it won't exist and rule you. But if you're not allowed to hold evil accountable, then you're being controlled by evil. That's why judged by peers, not by a politician, not by a government official. You have the right to be judged by your peers. I'll kill you, see. I don't know when this will come out, but yabba dabba do, motherfuckers. It's game time. I'm so ready to be free mentally. I'm so ready to be free sexually, physically. I'm so ready to create a reality that's healthier and have redemption. I'm angry about my relationship with Christine. I'm angry about my existence and my health. So, hopefully I can get rid of these spirits. Hopefully I can get some power. Hopefully I can get a clean room. Hopefully the power of heaven and intelligence will come upon me. And I can rise above, back on the street. Took my time, took my chances. Went the distance, now I'm back on my feet. Just a man and his will to survive. It's the eye of the tiger, it's the thrill of the fight. Up to the nigger of my child. And the last known cracker got spanked in the ass. Words have no power over you. Of the tiger. So, well, offense. Offense is not a legal right to harm someone else using the government force. Offense is not enforceable using the government's arm. Freedom of words is the establishment of liberty itself, and the right to be offensive is the First Amendment. Words are offensive. So that's what the Supreme Court said, and it's true. The problem is we don't have the ability to enforce human rights. Most of the problems will be solved by, obviously, getting rid of the currency debt and having a real one, and then communities that are the government. And then once we all bind together and establish an agreeable terms and conditions of respect, and we have public affection, I mean, everything will change because everyone's heart will change. Yeah, I don't like it, I don't like demons. I don't like being in a place where people are judging each other for having affection with somebody else, and then moments later they're with somebody else. All you son of bitches doing it. While all denying that they feel kindness or affection for more than one person. And that's the bullshit. I'm monogamous. You're telling me in the last 10 years of your life, you haven't felt affection, desire, intimacy with anyone else more than one person? I mean, that's like 1% of the population right now. So you're just denying it. People are denying their attraction to others through shame, through abuse. Christine has had sex probably 50 to 100 times with somebody else besides me. And she has the audacity to call me gross for having affection with somebody I like. And she still wants to be in my life without apologizing. Well, cunt, that's not happening. Like, what kind of piece of shit human, Christine, is literally sleeping with other people and then judging you? Like, her intelligent spiritual level is low, and I'm low. I'm low right now. I have come to a low point. I'm at a low point to be in this place where this thing offends me, and I'm looking for validation, approval, or I still feel connected to that cunt. I call her that because she has been one of the most evil things in my life, in my head. Evil, suffering. So, Jesus frees us. I'm very human. I'm absolutely limited in intellect capability. Tobacco is one of the chief healers in the world. Not many things you could smoke your whole life and still live. Tobacco is an antiviral. Its main problem is how it's consumed. Same with weed. Stop burning weed into your lungs. Like, it's not spiritually healthy. It's unnecessary. Or make it a non-evil version of it. Truth matters, accountability matters, product food matters, quality of drugs matter through identifying of name and brand. And freedom to be a doctor, freedom to practice, freedom to compete, freedom to trade. All freedoms are guaranteed you. And our community government is to make sure people have the right to be free. And being free is not enforcing your violent ideals upon others. Muhammad isn't real. He's an idea. Muslim religion, it's an idea. Christian religion, it's an idea you're born into. It isn't defining of you, and it does not give you an excuse to violate others. Lastly, why are you judging affection as evil? You're in hell. You've all been lied to. Hence the creation of what is evil. God would never lie. God is Satan. God is the spirit of death and suffering. God is the virus. He is the thorn. He is the flesh. He is the curse. It is the reason we are suffering. This realm I am in, we've been put into purposefully. You're telling me that two little human pieces of shit, Adam and Eve, and him making a mistake in the beginning was the reason that 100 billion humans and trillions of other spiritual beings, animals, have died and suffered because one guy ate a fruit that was presented to him and the all-knowing being knew he was going to take it. The Lamb of God that was slain before the foundation of the world, meaning it was planned. Like, you're telling me this earth wasn't planned? Like, suffering wasn't planned? It was created to exist. We're in a lie. Heaven isn't an evil place where they torture people forever. God, which is pure compassion and bliss, would not create you to suffer forever. Why does the orgasm feel so good? In that moment, you can almost touch heaven. The greatest pleasure we have on this earth, which is free, is affection and touch of beautiful people. Making that open to be done in nature. And we have room, endless room. You don't have to do it in front of other people because there's endlessly room. You'd literally have to go to the place where people are doing that. The body can only fill up so much space. And that also brings respect, not publishing nudity to people who don't want to see it. But at the same time, if people want to be naked somewhere, they have the right to be naked there. And what is the crime? Existing? I mean, it's going to take days, months before people change their mind on that topic. Rape is unwanted touch forced against you. That is not sex. Okay? People use the same word to define opposites. Expand your vocabulary. Communicate clearly. Expand your vocabulary. And realize words are an attempt to express emotion. Words themselves are not definitive. They are an attempt to express. The word may not be what someone's trying to say. You may be hearing them wrong. We are spirit. We are eternal. We are in bodies. People who don't think that, they haven't been as close enough to death. Or they haven't taken shrooms. Also, why not? Like, the universe everywhere is created wisdom. And then people will say, oh yeah? Well, what created God? You mean, what created a being that in an instant can create any reality it desires? I don't know. I don't even know how TV works, let alone an entity that can instantaneously create 100 trillion to the trillionth power existences all at the same time that work together. Yeah, I don't know how that works. I don't know how that being came into being. That doesn't mean that it's not there. I have no idea how that TV works. It doesn't mean it doesn't work. It doesn't mean it wasn't made. So, is there a creator? Absolutely. Is the creator me? Yes. I don't even know what that means. It just comes out of my heart. I don't even know what that means. I have no physical memory of anything. But somewhere in my soul is the description of things like that. That's not a very pleasant angle. I didn't even get prepared for this. Fuck Windows. Fuck Google. Both of them, I like Google more than Windows. Windows, I do not. I think Windows has been an evil company. Just robbing people left and right. Not good. They have their copyrights have harmed the world extensively. The beautiful thing about computers and digital is that we can spread wealth instantaneously for free. Free is a relative word to our ability to produce energy at a low cost. If we produce energy at a low cost, then things will actually become free. And once machines are able to repair machines, then truly we'll enter into a new age. There'll still be death. There'll still be sorrow. Then we have to address emotions, communities. Do I have a solution for everything? Yes, I do. I'm smart enough to see simple problems. And that doesn't mean I'm a genius. I'm far from it. I just can see left to right and up and down where most people have their face in the dirt. So, time to rise. When this will happen? Oh, this is 23rd. The problem with publishing this is, what do I say? Jesus wants to free you. And then people see me manifesting demons. The solution to all the world's problems brought in one thing. Fuck you, Satan. Yeah, I've been here for a while. Yeah, I've been suffering. Yeah, I lost my family. I appear insane. All of that really sucks. But I experience multiple realities that you're not experiencing. But guess what? Each person is experiencing a different reality within their body and in their mind. You, whoever you are out there, is not the limited answer. You are not the truth. You cannot base everyone's experience upon what you're experiencing. You are not experiencing what they are. It's not right to define reality by only your perception and limit people to that. It's not fair. The freedom of thought, the application of freedom, the ability for communities to unite, to usurp evil using all violence necessary to overthrow those who enslave you, and the ability to declare and operate desire and to remove anyone who stops you from making the world a better place. Earth is not perfect, and we cannot make it perfect, but we can make it 1,000 times better. And it's important to have compassion. It's important to realize that death is part of life. So are mistakes, so are injuries, so are accidents. So, in order to judge correctly, you have to observe correctly. I don't know. Apparently power is supposed to come. Apparently miracles are supposed to happen. In a day, I'm going to become super famous somehow. You're Jesus? I don't know. I don't know. I'm me. I'm the spirit that is loving, compassionate, and stands up against bullies. And has been experiencing realities enough to know that religions are man-made, violent repetition. What do they say? Oh, they'll just say, I'll kill you. That's mostly what it says. I'll kill you. No. You're mine, but uglier. I have not gotten into the spirit yet. Who am I responding to? Just thoughts that pop in my head. Probably from some co-host in the spirit realm. What's up? I'm trying to break out of this place. Okay. So, I can hear thoughts. I can project to anybody. Who should I project to? Obama? Well, let's go project him. Man, I wish I would have done so much more. Okay. You prepared that. I don't prepare jack shit. Things just happen around me. My mind has almost solely been focused on pain. And, if someone's stabbing your foot, do you know how hard it is to think about other things? This fungal infection throughout my whole body has exhausted me, absolutely. How did I get it? I think I got it from making out with somebody. A lot of diseases spread through the mouth. And if you have multiple diseases or injury to the heart at the same time, the body becomes overwhelmed, wrong diet, you introduce the wrong thing into your gut. Much suffering. Why is God? Think about a child, someone who starved their whole life. Would they get to heaven? Oh, yeah. But at some point, I guess when you turn 12 or 13, all of a sudden God no longer considers you a child, and now you get judged. Because you suffered longer, now you're going to get judged worse. The reality of Earth is that we all share in suffering. And we all share in the reward that suffering brings. What reward is that? About to find out. Should I publish this? I don't even know how to publish it. I don't even have a Reddit name. My Reddit name's something goofy, which just has a lot of nudity. Nudity is a crime. No, it's not. Sex is not real. Okay? People's ideal of sex is just a shattered delusion of fear and hiding. We don't have to hide when we have a gun. I will never die. I think that's true. Well, the only way that would happen is if heaven actually shows up, which means the realm that created Earth and miracles. That'd be cool. I mean, I can already prove the demon realm. I can prove the spirit realm. I mean, I welcome anybody to try to prove it with me. How? I can push into spirits. I can push into thoughts. We already know that there's electricity that flows from people. A majority of people are aware to some extent of the spirit realm. I mean, consider when you know something is going wrong when no one said anything. Or you know something's up in your heart. I mean, where's that from? There's no reason to be atheist other than people think they haven't proved. Because people think that not being atheist means you have to accept religion. Or that you're saved by what you think, which is called belief. How insane is that? That God will judge you not by your actions, but by the word you say. And they'll say, you get saved if you say a prayer and mean it. But the good person who was in a different religion will burn in hell. I mean, that's completely obtuse in disagreement with the whole Old Testament and a majority of the New Testament. It's in complete opposition to it. Your teachers and your leaders are insane, and they're repeating each other without contemplating the Bible. And they tell you they're telling you the Bible. They're not saying the Bible. They're not. They're liars. And they're presenting this false reality that empowers and encourages judgment. Evil judgment. The main problem with sexuality is disease. The benefit of one partner is the limitation of disease, which means a much happier physical life. It doesn't mean emotionally. So, once you solve the problem, then you create a new structure, and upon that new structure, you have a new life. You eradicate disease. Well, we got to work together. All these fucking sick kids, and these parents aren't taking care of them, and they send them to school sick. It's a place where they learn nothing. Stop sending your sick kid to school. No, one. Stop sending your sick kid into other people's houses. Well, we have to have time to isolate. We can't have time when we're in debt. What about the kids? We are all children. We are all children. What about reincarnation? I mean, Christianity believes in it. Jesus came back to earth. He came to earth. He was incarnated as man. There's ample testimonies that strongly uphold the idea of reincarnation. You have near-death experiences. You have people remembering other lives. But the Bible, fuck your Bible, man. You don't even read it. You're not told the Bible. You're told a small sect of a cult of violence that empowers an evil God. See, in the Torah, in the prophets, they would speak about to know God is to love and care for the poor and to have true judgment, to have a structure of good judgment. That's to know God. All of a sudden, the new religion, of the New Testament religion, the Christian cult it has nothing to do with being good or kind. It has to do with saying a prayer. And you're not allowed to question what they say. You're not allowed to question eternal torment. Like to say, you know what, that is insane and evil is to somehow be promoting a false god in your image. Like, I almost left the Christian religion multiple times because of that stupid teaching. And nobody had an answer. Well, maybe God does torment them forever. Even in Bible school, I was like presented this idea. Look at all these things. Nope. Like people want an evil deity. You want an evil God? Why would you want that? Ozone has been on. Working pretty well. The crime of nudity. See, what I'm doing here is illegal. But TSA can do this with the back of their hand. TSA does this to me. I walk through, their machine has red thing. TSA does this. So this is a crime, this is not a crime. I go in there, please don't touch my penis. They rub their hand on your penis. Why? What are they going to find? They're all following orders. Officers, prison guards, holding people in prison that they don't think should be there. Man, this guy paid his due. This is fucked up. This guy doesn't deserve it. But we're still going to torture him and keep him there. All this is because your government is based upon theft and violence rather than your desire to create a government you want because you have authority as a person and you have the right to be judged accordingly. I'm going to be judged for eating fruit before it got thrown in the trash can. 1/3 to 60% of food is thrown away at certain places. Food. Existence, that which cherishes you. So if somebody gets in trouble for stealing an apple, give them the fucking apple. We have machines, we have plenty of apples. Or help them. Say, hey, you took this, you have to work 2 hours for us. Well, you can't do that because places are forced, big Obama problem, and every government before it, they're forced to pay tremendous amounts. So therefore, you can't just have somebody come work a couple hours. You can't just hand them cash. You can't just reward them with goods because it can't be taxed. By currency, inflation, the printing of money, is not something that'll be paid back later. It is paid instantaneously by the loss of your value of your purchasing power. Is that true? Absolutely. What is the disagreement with it? No. What do you mean no? Fuck the moon landings. It's absolutely scripted. Gotta have your head in a hole to think otherwise. Blah, 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 blah. It didn't happen, guys. It didn't happen. Ample evidence to say otherwise. Here's the thing. Try to prove I'm right. Don't try to prove I'm wrong. Seek to prove that I'm right. What? You don't believe that there's corruption in government? That's what gets me. It's like, hey, this system which produces death is corrupt. Nope. They would never lie. The structure of government gravitates evil people because they are given authority. And when you have an institution that is enforced by violence, you then give individually demon-possessed evil people the right to rule you. Consider this. A young teenager graduates high school. He joins the police force. This child that's now 19, 20 has the authority over someone who is 50, 60. And that person has to be obeyed. Individuals are given authority over others as a job. That's all not. You don't have the right to rule over other people as a job if you are not incredibly smart. I could say maybe a few people like myself, but why me? Because I know the spirit realm. I'm older than my body. destiny. Anyways. Alright, no idea what's going to happen. But, or when something will happen. I look forward to hanging out with Bieber and his wife, Haley. She's nice. Not everything is sexual, guys. Got big plants. My room. Alright, well, liberty and justice for all. Every day I hear the phrase, overthrow the government, meaning the dictatorship. Overthrow it. Because it's not the government of the people, it's a corporation of corrupt itself. I mean, think of all the sub-governments in it. We are interfering with hundreds of different countries around the world. Digitally and, currency, all that shit. The whole institution is evil. Everyone knows it. But it never changes because you are not allowed to hold it accountable. Once people are given authority, everything changes. Once we create a currency based on reward to good that cannot be stolen, everything will change. The reason 666, the number of the beast. The thing is, though, say you don't do digital ID because you're afraid, and because the Bible and teaching was cool, well, then you have to establish a currency still. And you can make a different digital one, or you base a currency on literal goods and trade. And you can do that. It's just a lot of work. And you should do that. When the world's about to collapse, it'd be smart to do that. Be free, man. Live your life. But don't rule your violence upon others. And reach inside your heart and see what's in there. See if it's good. Look at this guy. Hallelujah. We have so many things in this world. Theft is not what it used to be. And something can be made and given to me for like $2. I like this thing a lot, but the battery is way too small. I would have paid a lot more money to have a better battery. Stuff like this. How wonderful would it be if we're taught technology and then I could just pop that, put a new battery in. I really like the structure of it, but don't buy this because the battery life is horrendous. I'm talking like you'll use it barely once and it'll be gone. I really like the structure of it. I guess I can just always have it plugged in. Alright, El Capitan. What's next? Just waiting for power of heaven to show up. And time. Opportune time to deliver humanity from darkness. Show and tell of demons. I am not a demon, but my spirit is shrouded with conflict. And if you've ever experienced madness and irrational emotions, well, there's a spiritual energy behind that. Once people observe the undeniable reality of a spirit realm, all of our judgments will change. We'll be able to forgive people because we'll realize the evil people have done is because literal evil energies you cannot see corrupted them. And once they're uncorrupted, they're not at fault for that. God created this reality and put us in this shit. Only God is responsible for it, not Adam and Eve. If by the one man Adam, humanity came under the curse, then by the one Christopher, all will be saved. I'm CJ, Christopher John. My last name is dumb as hell. I do not like my last name, which kind of leads to we are given religion and given name. We are given dress code. But a free man can create his own name. What would I be called? Love and Thunder. Nails. Not quite the best combo. The red is kind of out. It's not my best combo. It's weird. Love India. Love China. Love everyone. Why would anyone watch this? Because it's intriguing and has answers, has demons, as a man who has conflict with Jesus inside of him. Yeah. But if it goes wrong, they'll call me insane and try to arrest me. Well, unless they can guarantee that I have a trial by my peers and will not be imprisoned until my trial, and that my judgment will be according to my crime, I will not go with them, because they cannot guarantee any of that. Because it's a mob of obedience to demons, to demon-possessed commanders. That's what you have, your government structure. And then, think about it. If a demon can misquote a Bible verse in order to get you to submit to evil, it has won. And that's what we have. We have ministers, all sorts of people saying it is important to obey evil because God put that in place. So you take one verse of Paul, but the whole Old Testament is God overthrowing evil empires. And then people elect Paul above God itself, and that is a huge crime. Seriously, you're evil. You Christians are evil people, man. You elect Paul said above the whole Torah, the whole Old Testament. And you create a false reality based on obedience to Paul. Why? Paul created a religion. Jesus created a kingdom, right? Yeah, whatever. Just waiting. All right. Ciao.